I was born in Belize City, in the Caribbean. I was out there for 15 years. My dad wasn't present in my life for like the first, I'll say 8, because he sent for me out here when I was 8. And, I grew up with my moms, my grandma, and we were always like, our family always been close, and also into religion as well, right? But now that I have the understanding I have now, we never practice the Bible, like the teachings of the Bible. We would say to love and all that type of stuff, but as far as, eating halal and all that, we never went into detail. How Jesus prayed, we never went to, details like that. But out there in that environment, it was good. It was a beautiful environment until probably like when I turned 14, 15, the violence just skyrocketed. And that's when I decided to, come out here without even telling my mama I was staying out here. I got out here in December 2007. And, when I got out here, I already told my dad that I was finna stay, but I never told my mom. So when I got out here, that's when I broke the story down to her, like, Mama, I'm not going back out there. Like, this is what's going on. And she didn't like it. Right? She wanted me to come back, but I told her, like, I'm staying. Like, I'm going to stay out here to try and better myself. And, I started off, like, going to school, and, I still had the morals that we have growing up in Belize, like, not stealing and all this type of stuff. Like, try to correct what's the wrong. I try to correct it, but I fell into, the lifestyle, or was influenced by the belief of my friends during that time. And, I basically became a big part of doing what's wrong, right? And my friends, they were following suit, right? And I end up, that's like the first 15, 16 years of my life, 17. I end up going to jail or prison at age 19, right? And I was sentenced to 9 years for armed robbery. For me, it started off as, just hanging out with my friends, claiming these different gangs, and like, if a person got a problem, then we gonna help each other and, defend my homie or my friend that I'm around. But just basically try to seek some type of family. That's what gang is, like, trying to seek, be amongst like that a brotherhood that is really not built on nothing though, when you really look into it. What made me start gangbanging is my cousin. Me seeing, my cousin have to fight and all that type of stuff, and I just can't let him fight like by himself. I wanted to help, so that's what draw me into the gangbanging out here in America, like, trying to fight somebody's battle. And I sat back and I thought about, the gangbang, like, man, it's not meant for me, even while I was gangbanging, because I didn't even like certain people from the same spot that I claim. I was supposed to leave from one prison to another prison, right? The thing is, you get to this spot called reception, right? And usually spend a little split amount of time in reception, right? And they move you from reception to the main prison, right? And during the time in reception, we were supposed to smash one of these, he was a gangbanger too, from out of the prison, because he was in protective custody in the county. So we did that, and he went to another building and he didn't get smashed again. The process was supposed to continue until he go to protective custody or probably end up dead. And it didn't happen when he went to the other building. So that made me start questioning, why am I a part of this system? You know what I'm saying? And during my time in the county, I gave up on God, to whereby, I declare myself a devil worshiper. Right? So now I'm in reception and I'm in a cell 23 hours and more, right? Locked down in a cell with no TV, no radio, Nothing. Majority of the time I'm in there by myself. So that caused me to reflect, right? And I start asking myself, like, man, like, what is my purpose on earth? Because I already seen the gangbanging stuff wasn't for me. Like, what is my purpose on earth, right? And I was inspired with this answer that my purpose is to worship God. So I done went from, you know, hating God to right back to him. Like, my purpose is to worship God. The thing is, I didn't know how to go about doing that. I also got inspired to write my counselor, because now I've been in reception for like almost 8 months. Right now, I was supposed to been gone out of there, but based on the fact I had that fight, they kept me longer. So I wrote the counselor, and like probably like a week and some change, they ended up transpecting me from that prison to another prison. On my way to that other prison, it was this one brother, right? And he had long beard, and he was just different, right? When we sat in the holding tank, his conversation was different, right? And during that time again, I was still gangbanging, and somebody came up in there and they asked me where I'm from, and I told them where I'm from, and he also said where he was from. So the brother with the beard, he was like, you from Wuttuatu? I'm like, yeah, that's where I'm from. And he started asking me about certain individuals, and I'm wondering, like, man, how do you know them, right? And he was like, you know, these my little homies and stuff like that. So I when he said they're my little homies, I asked him, like, man, where you from? He said, man, I'm from the earth. So that blew my mind when he said, like, man, I'm from the earth. Like, bro, what, you trying to play me or something like that? Like, man, you from the earth. But come to find out, we were from the same neighborhood, right? And he was Muslim. Now, I didn't know what a Muslim was, right? And like I said, what attracted me to this brother was just his conversation and how intelligent he sounds. So when we was in the holding cell, I told him, brother, I want to be in the cell with you. He like, man, I don't think we're going to cell up together. Now, looking back, I know the reason why he said that. Because if you're a Muslim and you're really on your stuff, you ain't going to cell up with no gangbangers unless you're a teacher, right? To try and call that person to a better way of living. Because it could be friction, you know, people could die in themselves, right? So he said, I don't think we're going to cell up together. Long story short, we got in the same building and Allah placed us in the same cell. And that's when my journey started with, you know, Islam. I remember just sitting in the cell, and he would be having, you know, conversation. First and foremost, he would tell me like stuff that would happen on the yard with the tribe that I was a part of, and that basically I'm in a vehicle with no engine in it. I'm not gonna go nowhere, right? And I start seeing a whole lot of stuff that start, you know, taking place on the yard. For me, that call it quits with the gangbanging stuff was, it was a 2-on-1, right? Two white boys on a dude from our tribe, and it's supposed to be a riot when stuff like that happen in prison. And the tribe that I was a part of, they didn't retaliate. And my cellie told me, like, man, look, it's a gang of drugs on this yard, phones. They don't want to lose that. So he said, I can guarantee you that it ain't gonna be no riot for that. And I told him, like, brother, if we don't have a riot, I'll quit. Right? And we didn't have a riot. We didn't. I didn't declare to him that I quit right then and there. But I remember one day we went to Aleem, and I'm over there just listening, and Thor came in. So I'm sitting there, and one of the brothers like, man, get in the ranks and pray and get your blessings. So I'm like, all right. I got in the ranks, and, you know, after I finished making that prayer, brother, I went and told the brother, like, brother, I want to be Muslim. I'm done. So he already knew how I was. So he was like, brother, are you sure? Like, you sure? I'm like, brother, I'm done. Like, I'm through with this way of life. I wanna be Muslim. From November to February, I gave like 10 or 11 people their shahada just by one-on-one conversation that we would have. And it was just off one tradition from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whereby he was asked, how can I gain the love of people? The Prophet, peace be upon him and his descendants, replied, don't desire what the people desire, and the people will love you. And he was asked, how can I gain the love of Allah? And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam replied, don't desire this world and Allah will love you. So I look at that tradition and see what the people desire in that environment. And it was food. You don't have too much stuff in prison, so, you might have you being a part of a gang or whatever, because it's separated in there. And people might want, like, oh, can I get some soups and stuff? And it might be hard. Soup only costs $0.25. And people be acting stingy with that. So just by me giving up that material stuff, I built a relationship with people, and it made it easier for me to give them Islam. Right. So that's what I use. That's what I use to, call people to this way of life, the material stuff. I was sent to High Desert State Prison. Right. When I got to High Desert State Prison, again, I thought I had information. It was a lot of stuff, dudes that was in positions. Brothers didn't know how to do wudu or nothing. It was one Shia brother. It was one Shia brother on that yard. One Shia brother. And he was prostrating on earth. He was in a wheelchair. He was prostrating on earth. And he was like, when he seen me, he like, brother, I know you on your, this during the month of Ramadan. Right? He like, man, I know you on your stuff, brother. He like, man, don't get caught up in what's going on right now, dealing with these dudes on the yard, because it's bad. Right? And he is like, man, you're a good Sunni brother. I'm like, brother, I'm not Sunni. But I don't follow no method. So he started laughing. He was like, man, we talked about a little bit about the history and who was supposed to be the Caliph after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? And he told me his opinion. I told him my opinion. He slid me a book. Straight Path, right? I got that book right now. It's in the car, right? But he slid me that book, and brother, when I read that book, and it was coming from the books that I've read, like the Sahih, the 6 Sahih books that I've read, it blew my mind, because I'm like, man, how did I miss this? How did I miss this information right here? So now I want more. He slid me another book. Right? I forgot what that was called. Right? Then he was about to leave that prison. He was about to go to Lancaster State Prison. So he had a bag of books, and he was like, look, brother, I'm going to leave these books with you, right? And you disperse it in the chapel, so brothers could have the information. For me, knowing that I didn't follow that during that time, I didn't follow no method, right? For me, I'm like, man, I'm not about to give this books to the chapel. I told him, like, brother, they ain't going to listen to this right here. I'm about to read all these books, brother. I'm going to keep them. I'm going to read all of them. And that was my transition into Shia Islam. I start seeing the truth right there. And this is after I done told my celly up in there that I'm not Sunni nor Shia. But I start studying, like, as soon as I get up, brother, as soon as I open my eyes, I'm in a book, right? And I was already declaring myself, I'm a Shia. I'm telling my celly, brother, like, I'm a Shia, brother. Like, I'm a Shia. So when I left that prison, I ended up transpecting. I only stayed there for 8 months. I ended up transpecting. And I was making dua to Allah that I go back to the same prison that I started out, the same prison I took my Shahada at, because I knew that the chaplain up there, he was Shia. Then I knew the brothers up there that they were outstanding, brother. Like, they were Shias. And I wanted to get around those brothers. So when I got back, Allah placed me back to that prison. It was only one brother that was up there prior, right? And this was the brother who had life without the possibility of parole that was coming to the cell. So I'm like, look, brother, I'm ready. He like, what you mean? Because he's Jamaican. What you mean, Akhi? I'm like, man, look, brother, slide me the books. I need to study, brother, because you know, brothers, Shia brothers, they don't be sliding out their books like that, because they already know how brothers is when it comes down to that information in that environment. They really, really hate Shias. You know what I'm saying? Just based on, not by investigating, just by stuff that they hear, right? So they don't go study for themselves. So they already have that animosity when they hear Shias or see the name Ali. It's like it's a problem, right? So I'm like, brother, I need to study. Just slide me the book, right? He slid me Essence of the Quran, and he slid me Peshwa Nights. Peshwa Nights, it did it, you know, because again, I'm reading this book, brother, and it's coming from the majority of the sources in that book is from, you know, they are Sahih, Bukhari, Muslim, and books that I'm familiar with, and the arguments is strong. The thing is, a person just look past it and not really ponder on what's being said. Like for instance, the Hadith Taqlain, right? The two weighty things that I left the Quran behind and Mahul Bayt. But that's serious. You can't, the Quran and the Ahlul Bayt side by side, brother. You know, you can't practice Islam without following this right here. You know what I'm saying? So again, it caused me to dig and it opened up my eyes. And one of the brothers, my celly during that time, he came up under a Shia brother, but he wasn't Shia. He like, man, I'm cool with that. I'm cool off that stuff. But as he seen me changing everything, wudu, prayer, everything like that fast, like real quick, he like, brother, I'm like, yeah, brother, it's serious. I got to reform everything, right? I'm like, man, you could want to be playing because you studying the same thing that I'm studying and you seeing it, brother. He ended up becoming Shia in the cell. Right then, but a lot of the brothers, they had thought that I was Sunni, and they had liked my energy, right? So they want me to teach and stuff like that. So I'm already transitioning with them having this mind state, because the majority of brothers up there is Sunni, and they basically have the community up there, right? So I'm changing my mind state with them believing that, okay, I'm Sunni. And brother, by the leave of Allah, we made a huge transition out of that prison. Like that was the best prison that I've been a part of, brother, because, you know, like everybody that was coming to my cell by the leave of Allah, they were embracing the household, right? They were embracing the household, and you know, brothers would let me teach and stuff like that. So for me, I'm not about to hide the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a strive to deliver it in a beautiful way. You know what I'm saying? Like the Quran said, to call people to Islam with beautiful speech, like, you know, beautiful teaching. So I just delivered a message in a way that, you know, the people will understand it and don't feel offensive. But again, I strive to build a relationship with each one of my brothers. So when I put this information out there, it's not hurtful or you take it offensive. It caused me to be more militant. You know, it had like a stern mind state. Like, you know, now I understand the truth, and brother, I know that I have to basically strive to transform my environment, brother, right? And put this information out there and make this environment a safer place for me and my family, right? So, you know, it give me the energy to, you know, want to struggle hard. You know what I'm saying? Go all out, right? Because this was how, you know, the imams were. They went all out. So I'm striving to, you know, follow in their footsteps. So it makes me want to go all out, right? Also, I know the threat that it causes, because, you know, you really exposing falsehood by following this path, you know, even amongst your Muslim brothers, right? It ain't like, brother, I'm trying to down talk you or trying to challenge you or anything like that, brother, but brother, this is the truth, and you know it, and it's in your books. You know what I'm saying? So some people, they don't like hearing that, right? They don't like hearing that, and and you really could get your life taken just based on this path. And we see the footsteps of our imams, peace be upon them all, right? And those who followed them, right? But getting out here, it just give me a sterner push, and it also placed me in the environment of brothers that are strong. You know what I'm saying? Like brothers that really striving to change or reform society, right? And that's what I want to be a part of, right? It makes sense, and it sit with me, and I feel like, this is the truth, brother. It ain't no if, ands, buts, right? You no matter what, when Allah said to, go out there in the world and, go investigate, you're going to come back right here. And that's how I feel about Shia Islam. You could go investigate any ideology, any concept, right? And you're going to see that this right here is the truth by the leave of Allah. I mean, the Ahlul, peace be upon them all, is the reason why, I'm where I'm at today, right? It means my whole existence. The Ahlul means my whole existence to me, brother, because they are connected with Allah, and the only way I'll be connected with Allah is through them, through the Prophet and his household, right? That's the ultimate truth, right? So that means the world to me, right? And how they help me out here in this environment, brother, just looking at their struggle, brother, I always have to remember that our leaders been through worse than what we're going through right now in this society, right? And it also caused me to strive towards, being more patient, while holding on to the rope of Allah. Now, being patient doesn't mean to just let injustice happen. I could be patient by fighting against injustice, whether it's, verbally, holding in my heart, right? If I have to go out there on the battlefield when it's permissible, but then go out there and get it popping. But, it helped me understand, following this path helped me understand life more. You know what I'm saying? Just studying and understand what they've been through, it gives me a deeper understanding on life right now, right? And again, it means everything to me. This means for my existence.